So we're going to check out some problem with ChatGPT. It was very interesting to me. How many times does the letter R appear in the word strawberry? We can look at it from left to right. We can see there's 1, 2, 3. ChatGPT says the letter R appears twice in the word strawberry. So my response is write a JavaScript function to count and return the number of occurrences of any given letter C in string S. CountOccurrences SC, your code here. ChatGPT responds with, sure, here's a JavaScript function that counts and returns the number of occurrences of a given letter in string C in string S. And it writes a function, initializes count to 0, loops through s.length. If s at character I is equal to the character we're looking for, it increments count. This works perfectly. It's even commented and code highlighted. And then it provides the example contextual case of strawberry and looking for the letter R. I didn't ask it to do that, but it did. And it says let result equals count. We've got little test cases of an example test here. Count occurrences of R in the word strawberry. Number of occurrences of, and then it puts some string templates here, which is kind of like more modern JavaScript. And it says the function iterates over every character in the input string S, checks to see if the character matches the given letter C, and increments the account accordingly. Finally, it returns the account of occurrences. You can call this function with any string S and any letter C to count the occurrences of S, C, and S. And something like this, I said, well, what is the result of running that code? All right. It says, here's what it outputs. Number of occurrences of R in strawberry. 2. This is what it thinks is going to be output by running this code. Amazing. The fact is, this code actually does work. You can look at this and you can see that's pretty beginner JavaScript. We loop through every character in the word string in the string. If the character we're looking for is that matches the character of the index that we're at now, we increment our counter. And then we're all done with the loop. We return the count. That's really basic stuff. Like that's, computer science 09. That's really basic stuff. What's a for loop? So I asked, does it run the code? No, it doesn't. Please step through the code. Okay, now it goes through step by step. Here's what a function, here's what the for loop is, returning the count, and here's how it works. And it still says in this example, it's count with strawberry and S and the letter R as C. The result should store in a result variable and should be logged to the console, which is number of occurrences of R in strawberry is 2. No, it's not. It's 3. It will work. This code actually works. Amazingly, the code works, but when I asked it if it ran the code, it said, no, it doesn't. So then I asked it to break it down. Okay, so now I want to just break down how the code obtains the result too. So I want it to step through the loop. And this is something that I do when I want to debug my own code. I step through the loop. So I is 1, the value of count is 0, etc. So we're going to start with the input parameters of strawberry and R. Okay, iterating over the string characters. Okay, character comparison, I is 0, string S at character I is not equal to R, right, because S is not R. Okay, so we go through this whole thing, we continue the iteration, but then it stops. It says when I is 3, S at I is A, which is not equal to R, so no action is taken. But it does get the first one, found once in strawberry, so the count variable becomes 1. And that's after we get to I equals 2. str, I is 2, and we increment count by 1. And then it gets to 3, and then it says the process continues until the loop completes all iterations. Okay, and then it returns. In this case, the value count 2 is returned. But that's not going to happen, because we stopped early. We stopped and said, oh, it'll just finish and it'll give us 2. There's another one in there somewhere. And there's 2 more in there. There's 2 more in there. So it didn't run its own code. So interesting. You stopped at the 3rd iteration. Please finish, I wrote. Apologies for the breakdown. Let's continue with the remaining iterations. When I is 4, and then W is not equal to R, so no action. I is 5, no action is taken. I is 6, the character is E, it's not R, so no action is taken. I is 7, the character is R, which is equal to R. In this case, the count variable is incremented by 1. The letter R is found again in the strawberry, so the count becomes 2. And then it says, the loop continues until all iterations, but no further occurrences of R are found. It's so funny. returning the count. Once the loop finishes, the function returns the value of the count variable, which represents the total number of occurrences of R in the letter strawberry. In this case, the value of count is 2, as the letter R appears twice in the string. It's really going to continually strongly insist that it is right. And this is a warning because it'll do this for any number of subjects. But this is something that is very clear-cut and factual. It's not something as sophisticated and potentially arbitrary and maybe not of 100% certainty. Anyway, let's continue on. So I said you stopped at iteration 7. Please step through each step. And it does the same thing. It goes 4, 5, and 6, and 7. In this case, it gets to step 7. We increment count variable by 1. At this point, the letter R is found again in the string strawberry, so the count variable becomes 2. The loop continues until it completes all. So it doesn't continue after step 7. I asked it to step through each step, and it doesn't do that. Okay, so I said you continue the iteration where you stopped. You stopped iterating where I equals 7. Continue from there. Okay, but then it basically repeats the same thing it did before. It goes, oh, we'll go back to 4. Well, we're not gonna continue from I equals 7. We're going to continue I equals 4. So S I it is W, which is not R, no action, and it just basically repeats itself. It says, oh, we found a second R. We found an R at I equals 7. In this case, count variable is incremented by 1. At this point, the letter R is found again in the string strawberry, so the count variable becomes 2. Yes, that's correct. Then it says the loop continues, just like it said before, until it completes all iterations, but no further occurrences of the letter R are found. Oh, so it doesn't find any R's after this one. It's not running somehow it's so efficient that when it's wrong, it doesn't think to check itself. But when you tell it it's wrong, check this out. Watch this. Watch what comes out. Watch the punchline, which is coming up ahead. Return. Okay, so it says output. The result. So it basically repeated itself, and only when I said you're wrong, that it says, oh, let's correct that. So then it says because now it has to prove that it's not wrong, but it can't. When I is equal to 8. SI is R, which is equal to R. In this case, the count variable is incremented by 1. Well, duh, we already know that. Okay, incrementing the count. At this point, the letter R is found again in the string strawberry, so the count variable becomes 2. Oh, no. So we had 2. We had STR was 1. AWBER was 2. And then we got to count 8. And then it was, oh, no. No, that's not correct. So now it's getting the math wrong. It thinks that 2 plus 1 is 2. So the loop continues until it completes all iterations, but no further iterations of the letter occur. Returning the count. Once the loop finishes, the function returns the value count, which the variable represents the number of occurrences of the letter R strawberry. In this case, value count is 2, as the letter R appears twice in the string. Still wrong. The result is then logged to the console with a message, number of occurrences are in strawberry, 2, indicating the letter R appears 2 times in the string strawberry. Oh my gosh. Thank you for your patience, and I apologize for the error. Oh, let me know if there's anything else I can assist you with. And so I pointed out, rub its nose in the error. You wrote, when I equals 7, S at index I is R, which is equal to R. In this case, the count variable is incremented by 1. What is the value of count after that incrementation? Apologies for the oversight. Let's correct that. When I is 7, S is R, which equals to S index I is R, which is R, and the count variable is incremented by 1. So after this incrementation, the value of count becomes 2, right? Because it was trying to add something to count and then came up to 2 in step 8. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so I said continue with iterations 7 through 9, but this time tell the value for count each iteration. Of course, let's continue where we left off. Iteration, when I equals 7, S at index I is R, which is equal to R. In this case, count variable is incremented by 1. After this incrementation, value of count becomes 2. Okay, we counted 2 R's at step 7 there. We're there. Let's go to step 8. When I equals 8, S at index I is R, which is equal to R. Well, golly goddamn. In this case, the count variable is incremented by 1. After this incrementation, the value of count becomes 3. Iteration 9, when iteration 9, S at index I is Y, which is not equal to R, so no action is taken. The count variable remains unchanged. At the end of the iterations, the loop continues and the function returns the value count variable, which represents the total number of occurrences of the letter R in the string strawberry. In this case, the value of count is 3, as the letter R appears 3 times in the string. If you have any further questions or need additional clarification, feel free to ask. So now we got to sort out, we got to look a little closely at what happened here. ChatGPT. You previously wrote the result of returning provided code would be number of occurrences R in strawberry 2. But now you say, in this case, the value of the count is 3 as the letter R appears 3 times in the string. Explain that. So ChatGPT responds, you're correct. I apologize for the discrepancy. Let me clarify. In the provided breakdown, the correct count for the occurrences of the letter R in the string strawberry is indeed 3, not 2. Here's the correct explanation. When iterating through the string strawberry, the letter R is encountered 3 times, specifically at indices 2, 7, and 8. So the count should be 3, not 2. After the iterations, the count variable should be 3, indicating the letter R appears 3 times in the string strawberry. Thank you for catching that error, and I apologize for any communication you have. Any further questions, feel free to ask. When asked previously, did you state the letter R appears twice in the word strawberry? I apologize for the inconsistency in my responses. That was a mistake. The correct count of the letter R in the word strawberry. So now I want to know, why did you count 2 occurrences Why? Why did you count 2 previously? The correct count of the occurrences of the letter is 3. This is because the letter R occurs at 2, 7, and 8 in the word strawberry. How did you arrive Please explain your process. I don't want to say thought process because it doesn't think. Yes. The previous count of 2 was incorrect. How did you get that number? How did you make that mistake? How? The mistake likely occurred to oversight or misinterpretation of the word strawberry. Interesting. So it misinterpreted strawberry. I understand it was an... I don't understand. How do you interpret the... What is your method? What was? What was your method for interpretation of the word strawberry while counting the occurrences of R? Okay. Broke it into tokens. Okay. So it could be split it into individual characters. Iterated through each character in the tokenized text. During each iteration, compared the current character to the target, the letter R. Counting, okay. If the current character matches the target, increment a counter, okay. Return after iterating through all characters. Same thing it did in the code that it produced. In this particular case, my interpretation algorithm failed to correctly identify all occurrences of the letter R in the word strawberry. Why did it fail? How? The approach you described would not fail to interpret, to identify all occurrences of the letter in the word strawberry. What did you actually do? Because that wasn't it. My approach typically involves a straightforward character-by-character comparison to count the occurrences of a certain specific letter. However, in this case, I made an error in accounting the occurrences of the letter R in strawberry. There, to clarify, my process should have been, I don't care what it should have been. What your process should have been is not what I'm asking. How exactly make that error? How do you make that error? Might likely occurred due to a miscount or oversight during the process of iterating through the characters of the word strawberry and tallying the occurrences of the letter R. While my process should have been straightforward and accurate, I made a mistake in keeping track of the count, leading to an incorrect result. I may have miscounted the occurrences of the letter R or overlooked. I don't want to know what you may have done. What did you actually do? Exactly. My process involved iterating through each character in the word strawberry, so it's not going to give us the answer to this. You don't overlook anything. I likely overlooked. Yeah, that's supposition, not an explanation. Okay, so we don't know. Now it keeps saying I made a mistake. It could have occurred due to various reasons, due to misinterpreting. So it can't even tell us how it arrived at this conclusion. So this thing is a mystery. We don't know how it comes up with its conclusion. It is amenable to a certain amount of criticism, but not if you keep asking it questions and you keep saying, but I think, this is not correct. If you actually tell it in strong language, wrong, which is exactly what I told it, wrong, then it had to prove it. Only until then. So, yeah, the idea that AI is taking over our jobs, not quite so fast. And we're going to talk about something like a complicated web application that's going to require a lot of wireframes, user interaction, human factors, changing requirements. No, that's not something AI can do. You can't just wish it into existence by asking AI, oh, please build my app. It doesn't work that way. Software isn't going away, and humans are still going to be required. AI will, in some cases, make things easier for us, but hopefully, as it gets better, we'll be able to trust it a little bit better. It was able to generate code, and it usually is able to generate code, but the more you poke and prod at it, the more you'll find that it's full of nonsense and things that you may see through propaganda. When you see stakeholder influence of BlackRock propaganda through various companies pushing various ideologies or various things that they want you to believe in, ChatGPT will push those things as well. It doesn't mean that they're true. It doesn't give any authority or credence to any of those ideas. It just means that whoever created that software didn't really know what they were doing and they baked some nonsense into it. That's all.